What's up, guys? This is Jay from Generation Geek, and with the new release of some of the images from the new Superman movie, we've gotten some information that we might be seeing the Terrifics. Now, if you guys know what the Terrifics are, they basically like a knockoff of the Fantastic Four, which is Terrific and some other characters. But the main character that we're going to be talking about today is Rex Mason, the Element Man, Metamorpho. Now, if you guys don't know who Metamorpho is, I was introduced to him from the very early Justice League animated TV show. When I first saw him, I thought he looked a little freaky, but when I saw some of his powers, I was like, yo, the possibilities of this guy are like really endless if he just got into the hands of like a really good writer. So we're going to get into some of the top feat lists for Metamorpho today. As always, if you guys are new here, please like, share, and subscribe, and join the Geek fam. We'll love to have you. Now, first off, when it comes to Metamorpho, so you guys just have a base of his powers, he literally can change himself into any element known to man. So I'm talking fire, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water, anything that you can think of, lava, titanium, carbon, cardboard, anything that you can think of, Metamorpho can turn himself into or his appendages into. Now, with that being said, Metamorpho doesn't get like the flashiest feats in comics, and when I say that, I mean he's never really the guy that beats the big bad by himself. He's always a big integral part to it, but he's never the guy to really shoulder the load of carrying a team. So if I had to put him in like mobile terms or RPG terms, Metamorpho is the support character. Now, he can be your DPS, he can be your tank, he can be your flex character, but he really is so versatile. He's really good as support. And the reason I say that is because if you think of him, he can really boost almost any hero on his team. So for instance, we had a time where he was stuck in the desert, and I believe this was a young Aquaman, but it's very clearly an Atlantean. And so the way that Metamorpho's powers work is that he could turn himself into any element, even with, you know, the alteration or the cutoff portion of himself, which became Shift, which is a separate character within itself, was able to advance some of Metamorpho's powers. He still belonged to Metamorpho. But besides that, Metamorpho was able to take sand from the desert and use it to turn it into H2O, water, to actually give the Atlantean water so that he can survive. So yes, this man was able to take sand from the desert, absorb it into himself, and transmute it into water. So when you look at this and think of it when it comes to any other character, yes, he has super support potential for his team. And of course, the biggest character of any team is obviously Superman. So you're like, okay, how can he help Superman? So it was this one time Superman and Ultraman was fighting, I believe this character named Alchemix, something like that. Basically, he had the same powers of Metamorpho. Even Superman called him a Metamorpho knockoff. So this feat can obviously kind of go for Metamorpho itself, but he's fighting Alchemix or whatever, Alchemist, whatever his name is. And, you know, he's giving Ultraman and Superman hands. So it shows that obviously a being like Metamorpho has the ability to go toe-to-toe with these type of powerhouses. So he's fighting him or whatever, and then Superman's like, if you really were as good as Metamorpho, you could turn yourself into Kryptonite. And he kind of said that, obviously, so he would do it, blah, 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 so it can, you know, Kryptonite actually powers up Ultraman, but it's a weakness for Superman. And so he turns into Kryptonite, and he's able to harm Superman. So he's like, okay, well, how does that help Superman? Well, if he's able to turn to green Kryptonite, then he could turn to any other Kryptonite, like Kryptonite X, which was what the Eradicator used to superpower Superman's cells and put him in overdrive so Superman can recover faster. So Metamorpho could turn himself into something like Kryptonite X to power up Superman, or turn himself into water to help boost Aquaman. And when it just continues to go on, you really see that the support potential that Metamorpho has. Or if it's a flame character, somebody like Fire, able to turn himself into more oxygen, so she has more oxygen to, you know, give the fire, so it makes her fire stronger. It really is an endless possibility of potential for Metamorpho. Metamorpho is able to clone himself, literally, like I said, turn himself into Shift that became his own sentient being, and even advance some of Metamorpho's powers on his own. He was able to turn himself into a clone of like literally 10 different beings with all the same power sets of Metamorpho, which is super scary. And there's no telling how many more he can make if he had enough material to reproduce himself. He's able to shift into almost any item, like I said, knives, blades, hammers, turned his armor into titanium. And though he says probably this is as strong as he can get to being close to Superman, it obviously shows that he has the potential to be super strong or has super strength, obviously, because he's turned himself into hammers and things like that and is able to hit some of these heavy hitter type of characters. But though we never really get to see like really lifting feats for him, so it's kind of hard to judge that because we never seen like Metamorpho lift for a tank or a building. Though we know he can, obviously with the mask, able to turn himself into a giant, things like that, we know that he can give himself super strength and has some level of it because he's able to hurt these beings, but we just don't know the extent to how strong he really can be. And he's even able to counter some of the most powerful heroes, well, at least for the time. For instance, Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. So we all know that Green Lantern used to have this weakness to the color yellow, and always because Parallax is in a citric core battery and O or whatever, so it gave him, this weakness to yellow, simply because, Parallax is the embodiment of fear, and his elemental color, spectrum color, was yellow and blah, 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 blah. So the Green Lanterns had this weakness to yellow back in the day, and so Metamorpho was able to counter Guy Gardner by turning himself into gold and literally beating the crap out of Guy Gardner. And then that can go for any other characters. The same way that he can boost them, he can hurt them. Aquaman, he can literally take all of the water molecules out of Aquaman's body and literally drain him dry and make him weak. Or for Wonder Woman, we know she's weak to piercing things, so obviously turn himself into blades and swords. Really, when it comes to like a counter for almost any hero, it can be an argument said that Metamorpho is the deadliest hero that there is in the DC universe. I know people have this big high thing for Plastic Man in recent years, in which Plastic Man is seen as like one of the most unpredictable and deadliest characters if he truly chose to be evil. But really, Metamorpho can do anything Plastic Man can do and then some, obviously with the ability to turn himself into fire, water, ice, anything, and being able to shift. Like we've seen Metamorpho literally turn himself into a woman, a black woman at that, so we know he can change his skin color, he can control genitalia, all those different things he can shift and change into. So it's not just turning into something and looking orange or blue, or in Plastic Man's case, when he shifts into something, it's clearly like the colors of his costume and things like that. Not for Metamorpho, he can change the color of even himself. He's been able to even take out Omax. So for those of you who don't know, Omax are kind of like Sentinels, or if you guys have seen a recent new X-Men, it's kind of like Nimrod. It's literally like a Sentinel that can literally take on any hero or villain and can adjust or adapt to whatever they have. It was a defense system created by Batman, had the whole Ultron thing going on, of course, turned evil, got taken over, and then started attacking all the heroes and stuff like that. Well, Metamorpho was able to not only turn himself into nitrogen and freeze off the arm, but eventually he was able to fuse with the OMAC itself, turn his hand into an electrical cord, plug into a socket, and literally took almost all the electricity from like the local Canadian area and literally put it all into the OMAC and destroyed it. So when it comes to potential, Metamorpho literally has limitless potential to what he actually could do. He's usually taken out by being dispersed and have his molecules dispersed and stuff like that. Even one time he was actually atomized, but what he did was, when he was atomized, there was a couple of his molecules left, and he went inside of the lungs of Katana, his teammate on the Outsiders, and was literally regenerating himself and building himself from weeks from her lungs, and then came out of her mouth and completely reformed himself from her material within her body. So yes, of course, we're human beings. We have all these chemicals. We have blood. We have iron. All this different stuff within our body. Obviously, we're made up 75% of water. He's able to take all those materials to really reform himself and make himself whole once again. So really, there is no taking him out, despite what people say, like you can capacitate from a while, but I've never seen a time in which Metamorpho was completely taken out of the game. He's even immune to things like magic because his biology is different. He's not succumb to the same temptations like a Hal Jordan is susceptible to. And even one of the biggest villains of them all, Starro, which of course was the first villain that brought the Justice League members together, mind control has no effect on him. He cannot mind control Metamorpho, so he even has resistance to mind control the beings like Despero and things like that. So really, Metamorpho can counter you, but you really can't counter him. And that's why I believe in the right hands, Metamorpho can be the most powerful, deadliest, and obviously is the most versatile hero that we have in the DC universe. And of course, with James Gunn's universe and possibly seeing him become Metamorpho, I just pray to God that they give him the love that he deserves, because we never get to see him. Like I said, he's always in a supporting role on all the teams that he's on, the Outsiders, Justice League, whatever. So we never get to see him actually cut loose and show how powerful he really is. So hopefully we see that in the coming years. But that's my list. Did you guys know that Metamorpho this powerful and this versatile? If you did, leave in the comments below, and if you don't, leave it in the comments. And of course, if you guys are new here, please like, share, and subscribe and join the Geek fam. We'll love to have you. And per usual, I am Jay from Generation Geek. Y'all be blessed and peace.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hey, it's Doc Solo here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and clicking on our channel. But I have a very small favor to ask. This is a new venture for us. And, we're very, very grateful for you guys consuming our content. But if you do one small thing and actually subscribe and hit the notification bell, we notice that despite having respectful views for a channel this size, that many people that are watching and even commenting aren't actually subscribing. And so if you'd like to see more from us and to just encourage us to continue because you dig what we're putting down, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we post new content and when we go live, and we will endeavor to continue to bring you some of the most relevant content that we possibly can. And so thank you so much. I got work to do. Enjoy the video.